Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, 6 OHS students were selected for Michigan Youth Arts Festival, and officials want drivers to obey the speed limits in the park, and Addison Library turns 40 years old.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. NOTA is looking for an additional funding plan. The proposed mass transit plan and funding was presented last week by Brett Roskan from Oakland County Economic Development and Community Affairs and consultant Ben Stubka, Senior Transportation Planner for WSP USA. They discussed possible millage options to fund NOTA in the future.
In a 6-2 vote, the Downtown Development Authority approved to conduct an audit of M24 between Indian Lake Road and Harriet Street. The audit will determine the existing condition and issues for pedestrians and bicyclists and the possible improvements to be made. The DDA board member Dorothy Johnson said that many young people prefer to walk, jog, and ride their bikes instead of a car.
The Addison Township Library recently hosted a 40th anniversary party for itself. The attendees included past and present library staff members, board members, supporters, and residents. Those in attendance discussed how far the library has come over the decades and gave thanks for its positive impact on the community, and many stories of the library's founders were shared.
It appears the Oxford Downtown Development Authority may be going into the Lone Ranger business. Last week, the DDA board voted 8-0 to have members Rod Charles and Sue Oles discuss with DDA Executive Director Glenn Pape the ways in which the organization could possibly become involved in the annual Lone Ranger Parade and Festival, which is held the first Saturday in August. The trio are expected to report back to the board with some specifics in terms of potential methods of participation or contribution and associated costs.
With boating season at hand, boaters and swimmers on Addison Township Lakeville Lake can expect to feel safe and secure. Township officials voted last week to continue the township's 2016-2018 agreement with the Oakland County Sheriff's Marine Patrol. This will allow deputies to patrol Lakeville Lake for up to 128 hours this summer. According to the existing agreement, the township must carry at least $1,000 within its Lakeville Lake Area Fundraiser account each year to continue contracting with the Oakland County Sheriff's Marine Patrol.
6 Oxford High School band and orchestra students were selected to participate in the prestigious 2018 Michigan Youth Arts Festival, which takes place the weekend of May 10th at Western Michigan University. Oxford High School senior oboist Hayden Frank, senior clarinetist Trent Evans, senior guitarist Luke Sittard, senior string bassist Zachariah Smith, junior violinist Nadia Smith, and sophomore oboist Selena Langfeld are the students who will attend. In addition, junior violinist Paige Palmer was also invited to audition for the instrumental soloist competition at the festival. Congratulations, everybody. And that's it for Oxford News This Week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us on our website at OCCTV.org, on YouTube and Spectrum Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, John Ochins with the school news and OCTV's very own Cody Wright with the sports report. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kinney.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching OCTV This Week, Oxford News, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, 1,469 bird species are threatened with extinction, warns a global report. That is around 1/8 of the 10,966 known species, and farming is the biggest single threat. 74% of the threatened birds, that's 1,091 species, are in trouble because of expansion and intensification of farming. This is true of tropical species in South America and farmland birds in Europe, such as skylarks, lapwings, and corn buntings. The 2018 State of the World's Birds report was released by the BirdLife International at a conference on bird migration. It reveals that farms now occupy 6 times more of the Earth's land surface than they did 300 years ago, rising from 6 to 38% between 1700 and today. And it's being driven by changing human consumption patterns, especially an increasing switch to a high-meat diet, says lead author Tris Allinson of BirdLife International. Today, 2.5 times more people are overweight than undernourished, and average daily protein consumption is 1/3 higher than is needed. The growth of agriculture is destroying birds' habitat. In the tropics, the problem is that farms are spreading out onto ever more land to grow things like cocoa, sugar, soya, coffee, and palm oil that's driving the loss of habitat, says Allinson. In the developed world, it's the intensification that's the problem. This loss of habitat is even putting pressure on relatively common species such as turtle doves in Europe and Asia and gray parrots in Africa. The trend we're really noticing is seeing more familiar, widespread species in trouble, says Allinson. The loss of land is being compounded by other disruptive human activities like logging and draining of wetlands. Logging is often the precursor to turning over land to farmers, says Allinson. Hunting is also putting pressure on 517 threatened species. For example, the yellow-breasted bunting was classed as least concerned 15 years ago, but is now critically endangered. Thousands are illegally caught, killed, and eaten as delicacies in Asia, especially China. Every year, an estimated 12 to 38 million migratory songbirds, such as blackcaps, meet the same end in the Mediterranean. Climate change is a threat to 485 species, and they include snowy owls, which are classed as vulnerable, and their snowy habitat is shrinking because the Arctic tundra is warming rapidly. Allinson says we can save many of the threatened birds. We do know how to restore degraded ecosystems, and we can farm more sustainably, he says. The solutions are there, according to Allinson. In our next story, diamond is the hardest known naturally occurring material. It's nearly impossible to compress or scratch, but it can bend. Normally, trying to bend a diamond results in it fracturing. Ming Dao at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and his colleagues have now made tiny diamond needles that can bend without breaking, then spring back to their original position. The researchers deposited a thin film of diamond onto a sheet of silicon. Then they used high-energy ions to carve into the film, leaving behind a forest of nanoneedles standing a couple of micrometers tall and less than a micrometer across their base. The tiny needles had very little room for defects in their crystal structure, so they could bend without snapping, Dao says. The needles were bent by the tip of a scanning electron microscope as it pressed down. The researchers were able to bend the needle tip about 450 nanometers away from where it started, and it's about 20% of the needle's length before it snapped off. The needles that were bent less than that sprang back to vertical. The middle of the needle stretched about 9%, which is close to the theoretical maximum elastic stretching in a diamond. Well, in our last story, beware of hidden hitchhikers. Cargo ships could be carrying dangerous antibiotic-resistant bacteria around the world in their ballast tanks and expelling them near harbors. When Baoyi Li at the Shanghai Maritime Institute and Technology, Maritime University in China, and her colleagues analyzed sediment in the tanks of 9 cargo ships originating from various countries, they discovered 44 species of potentially harmful bacteria. DNA sequencing revealed 10 antibiotic-resistant genes within the samples, and such genes can make bacterial infections difficult to treat in humans. In 2017, more than 50,000 commercial ships crossed the oceans. When these ships pull into harbors, they shift their cargo and they expel or take on water to ballast tanks to provide stability. Transporting aquatic life forms in ballast water can also threaten biodiversity, so where it can be expelled and how it should be disposed of is regulated by the International Maritime Organization. However, Gülsen Altog, a marine biologist at the University of Istanbul in Turkey, says the rules aren't consistently applied, which will make it difficult to control antibiotic-resistant pathogens. Good luck with that. Well, that's all for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. April 22nd was Earth Day, and the Readers Theater group of second graders at Daniel Axford got the message out with a play.
Don't waste water. Fix leaky faucets. Turn the water off while you're brushing your teeth. Reduce water use. Wow. Use the bus or carpool. Energy is precious. Turn off lights and turn the heat down. Use it and we will all lose it. Reuse your shopping bags, plastic, and aluminum foil.
Their teacher is Tammy Dasbach.
So one of the things that we really focus on in second grade is reading, and Readers Theater is just a fun way for readers to practice using the voice of the different characters. And with Earth Day coming up, I just thought this would be a great opportunity for the students to have fun and share their knowledge with their parents. So we started about a week ago practicing, and the students picked their parts and worked together, and we had an awesome production today.
As for the message,
Don't clean up the earth. Don't make a mess of the earth.
And what were some of the things that you were telling people not to do?
Litter, turn off the don't recycle, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Don't turn on the light when you're brushing your teeth. Use bus, carpool. Turn off the light. Turn the heat down.
Oxford Virtual Academy selected their Teacher of the Year for 2018, Basha Ostrowski. Janet Schell is the principal at OVA.
Basha demonstrated a warmth and caring, but very competent when it came to being able to coach and guide online learners. She had a strong math background, and originally that's what we were kind of looking for, was math and mentoring. Since then, she's able to tutor math in the lab, which is what we need, but her job really is to pull her students through. She's their coach, guide, cheerleader, parent, partner for a lot of our kids. We have a wide variety of students, very at risk to very high flyers, everything in between, and she meets each of those students where they are, and she sets up, some of them, they're on, weekly appointments, progress reports, so it takes a very dedicated, organized, efficient person to manage all of these students and their 6 classes, but also has that personality, and she's warm and caring, but can push and has the data to back up that mentor coach approach that she takes with her students.
I chatted with Basha about her life in the virtual world and this honor.
This is my 3rd year here, yeah.
So you kind of got involved with it when things were just really getting cranked up, or didn't you?
It had already started getting cranked up.
Really?
Which is when I wanted to really come over here. So
I
this
take
was
it
my goal, is to come into Oxford, yeah.
Were you in virtual ed before?
I was the coordinator at Troy's virtual program.
Oh, really?
Before,
And how long had you been there with that?
I was there for 3 years.
So
I've been in virtual for about 15.
what attracted you to virtual ed?
I started as a virtual student myself in 2003.
Really?
And after getting my master's degree as a virtual student, I knew at that point that I wanted to go the virtual route. Distance learning is what we called it then. So I just looked for positions in virtual learning throughout my career.
And what attracted you to Oxford?
Well, Oxford was known as the District of Innovation, so I knew about that, I learned about it, and I wanted to be a part of that. It was more innovative than the other districts in our area.
Andrew was kind of a magician in that.
Yes. So that was my hopes, is to end up here eventually.
Tell me a little bit about your role here. What grades you teach? What subjects?
So I'm a mentor teacher for all full-time students, grades in high school, grades 9 through 12. So they have a full load of classes. They could be hybrid, where they're doing some seated classes at the high school, and they could be doing some dual enrollment college classes, or they could be all 6 classes being online.
So you spend a lot of time probably on the phone and on the floor with teaching?
On the phone and meetings with students, with parents. What's nice about being a virtual teacher, because I was a classroom teacher as well, is I feel that I get to know my students a little better individually, because we do communicate so much. We're forced to communicate through emails, through phone, because I don't always get to see them face to face.
What do you like most about the direction virtual ed is going in these days?
What do I like the most?
Yeah.
I like that there's opportunities for those students, different opportunities, rather than the seated environment. They have so much more available to them as far as learning goes.
So how'd you feel about being chosen Teacher of the Year?
It was humbling. It's humbling. I just enjoy what I do, and I really enjoy the families that I work with, and I love the Oxford community.
An interesting lady. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
What's happening, Oxford fans? Cody Wright here with the Sports Report. Lots of baseball this week. We also have softball and boys and girls lacrosse and soccer. So let's just dive in and see how it went. First off, boys baseball kicked off on the 20th when varsity took on Clarkston here at home and took the win 6-2. The freshman club also played the same day, but on the road in Lapeer. They faced a doubleheader and split the difference, winning one 13-1 and losing another 7-2. The next day, the varsity boys took on Lakeland here at home, once again in a doubleheader, also splitting the difference, once again losing 7-1 and winning 12-8. The JV club faced Lakeland as well that day, but on their diamond. However, that did not matter as much, and our boys took the win 11-4. The next day, the boys had a day off, and then we were back at it on the 24th. Varsity on the road in Rochester fell to a short final of 2-0. However, JV took on the same school here at home in a doubleheader and took the win both games 10-6 and 11-1. And finally, the last day, our freshmen hit it hard again against Lake Orion here at home in a doubleheader. They were a tough team, and we were unable to pull off a win both games, falling 9-3 and 16-6. On the flip side, though, the girls softball team didn't have as tough a schedule this week as the boys, but they were competing in a Lake Orion tournament on the 21st. We won both games we played against Utica 7-0 and then against Dakota 2-0. The girls soccer team also played this week, varsity and JV both taking on Rochester here at home. Varsity falling short 1-0 and JV pulling off the close win 2-1. And last but certainly not least, lacrosse. While we're on the subject of the girls team played very, very well this week, taking on Stony Creek on the 23rd actually here at home, and absolutely crushing them. The final score was 10-1. The boys have been struggling, like we've said this year, but this week we pulled off our first game we played on the 21st as well against Stony Creek, and a final score of 10-5. On the 24th, we then took on Birmingham here at home, and they were very tough. And varsity and JV both fell. Varsity 11-8, which was actually a very good game if you watch it, and JV 8-2. So I just want to say, keep your heads up, boys. I see a bright future ahead for this team. It's just a rebuilding year, and we lost some very key players last season, but it's starting to come together. Anyhow, that's all for this week's report. Like I said, lots of baseball and still lots to come, along with many other spring sports. For more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. Plenty of game breakdowns and statistics all right there for you right at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which can be accessed through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's going to do it for me. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright, and go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors and Volvo have partnered with Amazon to offer customers in-vehicle delivery of packages in the United States. The service is now available for both automakers' vehicles in 37 cities, with plans to expand the service coast to coast. Packages can be delivered to a location registered by the customer. The service is available on more than 7 million 2015 model year or newer Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac vehicles for GM. It comes free for Amazon Prime members with an active OnStar account. Volvo, one of the smaller luxury brands in the U.S., hopes to cater to high-end customers with busy lives by offering conveniences that leverages Amazon's size and reach. Technology, connectivity, and software are allowing automakers to extend the role and utility of light vehicles in ways beyond transportation, in this case transforming a sedan or crossover into a temporary drop box or secure locker. The current coverage area for the service, called Amazon Key in Car, coincides with large U.S. metropolitan areas where the online retail giant already offers Amazon Key, a service available for Amazon Prime customers that debuted last autumn that allows packages to be delivered inside a customer's front door without giving the courier an actual key. The same idea will be applied to owners of GM and Volvo vehicles who download the Amazon app and link their Amazon Prime account with their OnStar or Volvo OnCall account. After the setup is complete and a delivery location is registered, customers can shop on Amazon.com and select the in-car delivery option at checkout. The apps will notify the customer when the delivery is about to happen, when it's completed, and when the vehicle is safety locked. Deliveries are made to a stationary car parked in a publicly accessible area. And still at GM, General Motors is expanding the capability of its in-vehicle marketplace app to include paying for fuel. The automaker on April 18th said it had partnered with Shell to launch the automotive industry's first in-dash fuel payment system. The feature is being piloted in roughly 1 million Chevrolet vehicles at select Shell stations in the Detroit, Seattle, and Houston metropolitan areas. A nationwide rollout of more than 14,000 stations is scheduled to occur this summer. GM, through OnStar, plans to expand the feature to more than 4 million vehicles across GM's brands by the end of the year through a remote update of the vehicle's infotainment system, much like updating a cell phone app. To use the feature, drivers press the Shell icon with the Marketplace app and select their preferred station location. After a few steps, a code will be generated that allows the user to activate a desired pump and start fueling. Payment is then automatically charged through its fuel reward saving. GM launched Marketplace late last year as an in-vehicle e-commerce app that allows drivers to order and pay for goods from the likes of Dunkin' Donuts or, say, reserve a table at TGI Fridays. It also offers deals in local restaurants and merchants such as 7-Eleven. It is available on 2017 and 2018 model year vehicles equipped with Wi-Fi hotspots and compatible infotainment systems. Marketplace is part of GM's ongoing strategy to move into more service-based business areas, which includes expanding the availability of its OnStar system and in-vehicle connectivity. And on the recall front, Volkswagen AG's luxury Audi brand said on April 24th it was recalling 1.16 million vehicles worldwide because of concerns that an electric coolant pump could overheat or short-circuit from moisture within the pump and pose a fire risk. Audi told U.S. regulators the recall covers some 2013 to 2017 Audi A5 Cabriolet, A5 Coupe, and Audi Q5 vehicles, 2012 to 2015 Audi A6 vehicles, and 2013 to 2016 Audi A4 sedan and A4 all-road vehicles with 2-liter turbo FSI engines. Audi said the pump can become blocked with debris from the cooling system, adding that there have been no reports of injuries or crashes related to the issue. Dealers will replace the pumps, but the company did not say when the parts will become available, according to a filing with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the U.S. The recall covers 342,000 vehicles in the United States, NHTSA said. The company said it did not have a breakdown by country of the remaining affected vehicles. In January of 2017, Audi recalled the same group of vehicles in the United States to update the software so that the power supply to the coolant pump would be deactivated if the pump became blocked with debris. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.
Hi, I'm Rachel Baker, and welcome to OCTV's weekly calendar of events, where we feature community activities and family outings from Oxford, Leonard, and Lake Orion. If you or your organization would like us to get your message out to our viewing public, please contact us for more information at our studio. Our number is 248-628-9658, or go to our website at occtv.org. Ladies and gentlemen, tell all your friends, spring has finally reached Michigan. Oxford Parks and Rec is ready for it, are you? The spring and summer brochure was sent on April 13th, so check out all their cool programs they have to offer to have some fun in the summer sun. On Tuesday, May 1st, enjoy a book walk at 1:30 with a librarian and other book lovers along Powell Lake with the Oxford Library. Share what you've enjoyed reading and get ideas for new books to try. This is for adults only and no pets are allowed. During cold days, you will meet inside by the fire to chat. Hopefully this is no longer applicable. Adult Writing Club is another great way to hone your writing skills. On Wednesday, May 2nd at 7 p.m., bring a piece of your own writing to share, or just listen and get inspired to begin your own project. All of these events are free of charge. I'd like to give a thank you to all the generous givers that donated food to Gleaners Community Food Bank. The annual Food for Fines and Food for Thought campaign ended on Saturday, April 28th at the Addison Library. Keep posted here for more information on local charity events. And calling out to all volunteers, it's almost May. Weather is warm and there's never been a better time to get out and serve your community. Clean yards and go out and help someone in need. If you're interested in a new furry member of the family, the Canine Stray Rescue League hosts regular adoption events at Pet Stuff and Harvest Time Market from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This Saturday, come on out and pick out your best friend. This week's adoption event will be held at Petco in Auburn Hills near Great Lakes Crossing from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next Saturday, adoptions will be held at Pet Stuff and Harvest Time from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Each time you adopt from there, a free bag of Nutrisource dog food will be provided to you, the same food that Canine feeds their own dogs at the kennel. Next Saturday, for more questions or information, please call Canine Stray Rescue League at 248-628-0435. If you're interested in donating your time or money to this fine organization, know that they are always taking cans and bottles to fund the dog's medical treatments. These are expensive endeavors, so donations are always appreciated. Also, feel free to donate paper towels or newspapers, chew toys, and milk bones for the dogs. Your help is sincerely appreciated. If you're interested in volunteering, please call Canine Stray Rescue League or visit their website, caninestray.com, for more details. This is Oxford Community TV, and I'm your local host, Rachel Baker. Please join us again for your weekly calendar of events.